have got a lot to talk about tonight. There may be an absolute breakthrough in multi-tool technology that Dikoyu has just unveiled. We'll delve into that, but first of all, I want to bring up these two tools. These are the DK Shadow, and just explain what's happening. So what it seems like is when Dikoyu, or Dikoyu Tool as they're now called, they pretty much are the tip of the spear. They are pretty much at the forefront of some of the brand new designs we see coming to the US on Amazon, AliExpress, and so forth. So available to us, the consumer. So many times we see it first at Dikoyu, and this is a great example with the DK Shadow. Now, this is pretty much a Leatherman signal. There's the saw, the knife, the hammer, the clip, and it follows a lot of the signals ideas, not exactly, obviously. There's some inner tools included, and then on the end, you could use that 5mm bit. Well, they have decided to change this, but before they did, a lot of other multi-tool sort of companies rebranded this, took this up. You could see BBT had a version, I believe, on AliExpress, and then maybe Mossy Oak and perhaps some of Felissa, maybe some of the other ones. I think, I'm not sure if Byberry had this version. I think they had the 4 tool version, but I did see several of these come to Amazon that were not Dikoyu labeled. Now Dikoyu has changed, and they are planning to switch up the tool set on this. So though they will have a knife with bearings and then a pair of scissors on the outside. They'll have the hammer end. If everything goes according to plan, then they will still have something similar to this, the ferrule rod and the whistle that this one has on the outside. It looks like that will remain pretty much pretty similar. And then on the inside, they'll change it so there's a Leatherman style bit driver, which I think a fair amount of people will like. And then there'll be perhaps a couple other tools, is what it looks like from their post online. So Dikoyu says that this new DK Shadow will have 14C820N steel, and it will be equipped with a bearing. The whistle has been replaced with a glow-in-the-dark material, and perhaps around a half of a month, he will have a video. And then the handle material will be available in 2 versions. One is PEI and the other is a fully polished version. So definitely it is going upscale. We're seeing almost like their version of the Leatherman Sandstorm signal is what it looks like, which is sort of cool that they're doing something like that. Some people will be frustrated because yes, it is copying Leatherman to some extent. I'll let you decide whether you like that or not. Now, let's go on to the more exciting news, because Dikoyu has come out with a concept that I think could possibly revolutionize a lot of multi-tools and how they're used. So on the table in front of me, you can see some of Dikoyu's more advanced premium tools, and then on the screen, you should see their vision of the next tool, and it looks really cool. Take a look at that. They said that they haven't figured out the name yet, but it looks like there will be a T-shank adapter that looks very similar to perhaps the GHK 21. Maybe not exactly, but it does bear some resemblance. I'm not sure that it looks necessarily that much like the Leatherman Surge. Looks like it's been reworked perhaps a little bit, but then looks perhaps maybe there might be a file or at least 2 or 3 tools that will be easily able to switch out. And I think that will be really, really awesome. Now, how will that work? Well, I'm glad you asked, because we'll set these off to the side in the background, because I just got this in the mail tonight. Now, this is a pretty fantastic tool, and this knife is pretty much what Dikoyu wants to do with their multi-tool. This is from 9TI EDC. This was around $33. A very fidget-friendly knife. And what you get with this is an extra 1, 2, 3 blades. So it comes with 4 blades. And this is so easy to use once you know how to use it. At first, I was like, how does this work? But you loosen this up, and then there's a spring inside. You take the blade out, depress this again, and there you go, tighten it up, and you can switch out the blade. It's very, very simple to do. Very fidget friendly, as I mentioned, very lightweight, a fantastic knife. For $33, I really, really like it. Now, Dekoyu essentially wants to do that with almost all the tools except the T-shank adapter for the saw. So I think that's a pretty cool thing. It seems like they want to use, or they are using in the picture, a platform very similar to this. I'll get a tool that looks even more similar. So it's the same basic tool where we see these CNC pliers that possibly are some of the strongest in the industry. And it's this same platform that Dekoyu is building on, and now they're trying to make T-shank for the saw, and then it looks like at least 2, and perhaps they might leave the scissors in here, but the 2 others where you can replace the blades. So that will be really interesting. I think that could really revolutionize a lot of the way people use their multi-tools. I am really hoping that this makes it into production. I know Dekoyu had sort of teased about making a multi-tool for firemen based on their sort of loosely based version of the Leatherman Mutt, and that has never come to fruition as of yet. Now, one of the other versions out there on the market is this knife by Oletans, and this one you can also undo these and swap out the knife blade. But as you can see, you need some tools to do it, and it takes a lot longer. So this version, I think, makes a lot more sense. This is a fantastic knife right here. Both of these are really good. This one, I mean, I like the handles a little bit better. I feel like they're made a little bit better, but these are G10 or something similar to that. And yeah, but both of these are pretty nice knives, but this swappable system is so easy to use, and for that to be available rather on a multi-tool, I think would be really, really good. So what does this mean for some of the other multi-tool companies out there? Well, I think for Leatherman, they're focused on becoming almost like, or staying, the Franklin Mint of multi-tools, where they're cranking out special editions, and then you have to collect all the colors, you have to collect all the glow and the dark editions. Yeah, pretty much. Now with Gerber, I think they're focused on quantity, and so they will crank out 10 new things a year perhaps. Maybe it's only a spoon or a fork, or maybe it's a pocket tool, but they have a lot of new things, and then they have new exciting products, not for everyone, not for maybe the dedicated multi-tool enthusiast, but for some of the people as they browse through the store, they will pick up a Gerber and be excited over it. I think that's where Gerber's at for the most part. And of course, SOG, well, I'm not sure what's going on with SOG and their new ownership, but they are still pretty much selling the same tools they have sold, with a couple new ones coming and leaving. And then next to what Roxxon, I think, are the rising stars, along with some of these other tools that we're seeing coming on the market. So there is innovation happening, and we'll see if people like it or not. What we're seeing is a lot of this sort of we're mixing the Roxxon Flex almost with the Leatherman Wave Surge. It's like that interconnecting where people may not want a full replaceable multi-tool. They may not feel like that's sturdy enough for their needs, but I think people do increasingly want a lot more choice. And so what Dekoyu is possibly doing with adding those 2 swappable blade slots, I think will actually excite a lot of people. So we'll have to see how that turns out. And then I think we will see downstream effects where you might see Flissa, might see Grand Harvest, you might see Byberry, all these other tool companies follow suit later on. We'll see what happens. But pretty exciting times in the multi-tool industry. We've had a little bit of a lull, a little bit of a downtime, and now there are some really cool products about to come on the market. Trust me, they are coming. They're almost here. Some of you have already seen the emails, but I am very excited at what's coming up. Stay tuned. There are a lot of cool tools that I will be reviewing pretty soon.